The daily humiliation. Dr. Sophia Martinez adjusted her oversized cardigan for the third time that morning as she walked through the glass corridors of Harrison Tech Industries. Her dark hair was pulled back in the same severe bun she'd worn every day for 2 years, and her thick-rimmed glasses did their job of making her virtually invisible to her colleagues. At 29, she possessed one of the most brilliant minds in software engineering, but nobody at Harrison Tech seemed to notice or care. "Martinez?" Blake Harrison's voice boomed across the open office space, causing conversations to stop and heads to turn. "Where's the debugging report I asked for yesterday?" Sophia's stomach clenched as she approached her boss's glass-walled office. Blake Harrison was everything she wasn't: confident, commanding, and devastatingly handsome in the way that only came from a lifetime of privilege. At 32, he'd inherited Harrison Tech from his father and turned it into a billion-dollar empire through a combination of ruthless business tactics and an uncanny ability to predict tech trends. "The report is on your desk, Mr. Harrison," Sophia said quietly, gesturing to the neat stack of papers she'd placed there an hour earlier. "I've identified 17 critical bugs in the new operating system and proposed solutions for each." Blake barely glanced at the documents. 17 bugs? That seems excessive, Martinez. Are you sure you're not creating problems where none exist? Heat flooded Sophia's cheeks as she felt the eyes of her colleagues watching the exchange. "Sir, I've triple-checked each finding. The bugs could cause system failures that—" "That's your opinion." Blake's ice-blue eyes scanned her appearance with obvious distaste. "Though I have to wonder if someone who can't even dress professionally should be trusted with complex code analysis." The insult hit like a physical blow. Sophia was wearing her best blouse, albeit wrinkled from her long subway commute, and pants that were practical rather than fashionable. Her budget didn't allow for designer clothes, and she'd learned long ago that trying to compete with the fashion-forward women in the office only made her feel worse about herself. "Perhaps you should focus on improving your presentation skills before questioning our beta testing protocols," Blake continued, loud enough for half the office to hear. "First impressions matter in this business, Martinez. Clients don't want to work with someone who looks like they just rolled out of bed." Sophia felt tears threaten behind her glasses, but forced herself to remain composed. "Understood, Mr. Harrison. I'll review the bugs again and have a revised report by end of day." "See that you do," Blake said dismissively, already turning his attention to his computer screen. "And Martinez, next time, try to look like you work for a tech company, not a library." As Sophia walked back to her cubicle, she could hear the whispered comments of her coworkers. Some seemed sympathetic, but others laughed quietly at Blake's cruel assessment. She sat down at her cluttered desk, surrounded by technical manuals and empty coffee cups, and tried to focus on her work. What Blake Harrison didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Sophia Martinez had already revolutionized their industry twice over. The breakthrough algorithms that had made Harrison Tech's latest software so successful, those were hers, quietly submitted through the company's suggestion system and claimed by Blake's development team. The security protocols that had saved them from 3 major cyber attacks? Sophia's innovations, credited to senior engineers who barely understood how they worked. She learned to hide her brilliance just as thoroughly as she hid her appearance. In a world that judged her by her clothes and confidence rather than her capabilities, invisibility had become her survival strategy. But as Blake's laughter echoed across the office while he regaled his management team with another story of her inadequacies, Sophia felt something shift inside her chest. Anger, yes, but also a growing determination to prove that his cruelty said far more about his character than it did about her worth. What she didn't know was that in 3 days, everything would change at the company retreat when Blake Harrison finally saw who Dr. Sophia Martinez really was beneath the armor of dowdy clothes and defensive isolation. Cosmic complications. That evening, the mandatory team dinner felt like navigating a minefield. Blake kept stealing glances at Sophia, who had returned to her usual conservative attire, but couldn't completely hide the confidence the afternoon had awakened. Meanwhile, Zara observed everything with the detached fascination of a scientist studying fascinating specimens. The presentation tomorrow needs revising, Blake announced to the assembled team. Martinez, I want you to work with Zara tonight on the security protocols. Sophia blinked in surprise. Blake never included her in high-level strategy sessions. Of course, Mr. Harrison. In Zara's suite later that evening, Sophia found herself surrounded by technology that defied explanation. Holographic displays flickered with data streams that seemed to respond to Zara's thoughts, while consoles hummed with energy that felt distinctly non-terrestrial. What exactly is Harrison Tech working on? Sophia asked, her engineer's mind racing to understand the impossible equipment around her. Advancement, Zara replied simply. My people have been guiding certain human innovations, helping your species develop technologies that will prepare you for larger cosmic realities. Your people? Sophia stared at her. Zara's human disguise shimmered slightly, revealing more of her purple-tinted skin. I'm what you might call an alien, though we prefer interdimensional beings. We've been studying human potential, particularly in individuals whose capabilities have been systematically suppressed. Like me? Sophia said, understanding flooding through her. Like you. Your innovations have been stolen and credited to others for years. Blake Harrison has built his empire on your uncredited brilliance, never realizing he was exploiting the most valuable mind in his company. The revelation hit Sophia like a physical blow. He knows? He knows his company succeeds because of mysterious breakthrough algorithms that appear in the suggestion system, Zara said gently. He doesn't know they all originate from your brilliant mind working in isolation. Before Sophia could process this fully, Blake appeared in the doorway, his expression shifting from confusion to awe as he took in the alien technology surrounding them. What the hell is this? He demanded. This is the source of your company's success, Sophia said, standing to face him. While you've been humiliating me in meetings, I've been developing the innovations that made you rich. Blake's face went pale. Sophia, I didn't know. Didn't know that your quiet, dowdy employee was actually a genius? Didn't know that every major breakthrough your company has achieved came from my work? The pool today, Sophia said, slowly, pieces clicking into place. Seeing you without all the armor. You've been hiding everything, haven't you? Your appearance, your abilities, your incredible mind. Because men like you punish women for being threatening. I learned early that being invisible was safer than being brilliant. Blake stepped closer, his expression raw with regret. Sophia, I've been a complete fool. Watching you today, seeing you laugh and relax, you're extraordinary. Not just beautiful, but brilliant beyond anything I imagined. Now you notice? Sophia said, though she could feel her anger wavering at the genuine pain in his eyes. Let me make it right, Blake said desperately. However long it takes, whatever I need to do to prove that I see you now, the real you. As Zara watched the exchange with alien curiosity, Sophia realized her transformation had revealed far more than physical beauty. She'd discovered the power of authenticity, the strength that came from refusing to diminish herself for others' comfort. The question was whether Blake Harrison deserved the chance to prove he could love the real Sophia Martinez. Underwater passion. The next morning brought crisis. Competitors had somehow accessed Harrison Tech's proprietary systems, stealing months of development work. As panic spread through the executive team, Blake turned to the one person whose expertise he'd been too blind to recognize. "Sophia," he said, finding her on the resort's private beach, "I need your help. Not as my assistant or subordinate, but as the brilliant engineer you've always been." Working together in Blake's suite, Sophia's fingers flew across quantum interfaces that Zara had revealed. Blake watched in awe as she traced intrusion pathways and rebuilt security protocols with skills that far exceeded anything he had imagined. "How long have you been this extraordinary?" as she worked. "Always," Sophia replied without looking up. "You just never bothered to look." When she finally turned from the console, Blake was standing close enough that she could see gold flecks in his blue eyes. "I'm looking now," he said softly. "Sophia, I've been falling for you since yesterday at the pool, but I realize now I should have been falling for you for years." Sophia whispered, but her protest died as he cupped her face gently. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness for how I treated you, but I can't stop thinking about you, about who you really are beneath all the hiding." When he kissed her, it was with desperate tenderness, as if she might disappear if he wasn't careful. Sophia felt herself melting into him, years of suppressed attraction finally finding expression. His hands tangled in her loose hair while she pressed closer, feeling his strength and warmth. They made love that night with passionate intensity, Blake worshiping her body as if trying to apologize for every cruel word, every dismissive glance. Sophia discovered that beneath his arrogant exterior lay a man capable of incredible tenderness and vulnerability. "I've wanted this for so long," Blake confessed as they lay entwined afterward. "Not just the physical attraction, but the connection to your brilliant mind, your fierce spirit." "Then why were you so cruel?" Sophia asked, tracing patterns on his chest. "Because you terrified me," Blake admitted. "Even hidden behind baggy clothes, your intelligence shone through. I felt threatened by how much smarter you were, so I tried to diminish you instead of celebrating you." Zara found them the next morning, her alien features serene. Despite the urgency of her message, the breach was orchestrated by government forces seeking our technology. They know about the alien presence now. Blake immediately moved to shield Sophia. Whatever's coming, she doesn't need to be involved. Actually, Sophia's innovations are the key to protecting both human and alien interests. Her unique mind can create bridges between our species that neither could build alone. Looking between Blake and the alien who had become her unlikely ally, Sophia realized she'd found her true purpose, not hiding her brilliance, but using it to forge connections across worlds. Love's true innovation. The final confrontation came as government forces surrounded the resort, demanding access to alien technology and the enhanced individuals working with them. Blake stood with Sophia and Zara in the main conference room, facing down agents who saw only potential weapons where they saw bridges between worlds. "Dr. Martinez, your innovations have been remarkable. Imagine what you could accomplish with proper government resources. Imagine what humanity could accomplish with proper respect for alien allies," Sophia countered, her confidence radiating as she stood between worlds. Blake watched Sophia command the room with her brilliant arguments and felt love swell in his chest. This was the woman he'd been too blind to see, whose potential he nearly destroyed with his arrogance.
Sophia's right, he said, stepping forward. Harrison Tech will be partnering with interdimensional allies to develop technology that serves all conscious beings, not just human military interests. That's not your choice to make, the agent replied coldly. Actually, it is, Sophia said with quiet authority, because every breakthrough you've attributed to Harrison Tech came from my mind, and my mind chooses cooperation over conquest. The standoff ended when Sophia demonstrated her latest innovation, a communication protocol that allowed direct understanding between species, making deception impossible. Faced with technology that would transform diplomacy itself, the government agents found themselves partners rather than conquerors. Weeks later, back in New York, Sophia